without further ado, I'd love to introduce our friend in the industry, a great partner of Bon Voyage Travel. He works for Viking and has for a number of years. He's the Director of Business Development, Reiner Marks. He's local here in Arizona, but I haven't seen him since February. Reiner, it's good to see you.
It's been too long. Thank you so much, Ryan. It's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. Glad having you back. We did have you on our weekly webinar series a few months back talking about the new Mississippi River product that will debut in 2022. So if there's any questions about that, go to our website and you can watch that webinar in its entirety. It is on our bvtravel.com/events page. Reiner will detail all about the Mississippi River, which is a brand new product to Viking coming again out in 2022. But I would caution you, if that's of interest to you, you better go watch that webinar ASAP and get your booking in, because those beds are getting filled up quickly, which inevitably is happening. What's so curious, and Reiner will get into it, as you watch this presentation, I don't want you to think, I got plenty of time to book my 2021 Viking Ocean cruise, because cruises aren't going right now. People are booking those cruises. They're flying off the shelves. So shameless plug for Viking right now. Get your booking in after you listen to this webinar. But let's jump into the particulars. Reiner, it's all yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining. This is really exciting. Ryan is absolutely right. So not only 21 is open for bookings, we had to open 22 because of the overwhelming demand, and even 2023 sailings have been open for booking already. So without further ado, today we're talking about Viking Oceans. Really exciting. I had a great opportunity and chance to join several of those to experience this great product and how much it is being liked by travel agents in the industry and by travelers that have sailed on Viking. You can see here that we have been voted #1 cruise line in the past year. So very, very exciting. And the reasons why I'm hoping I'm getting this across today, the reasons why that is, and oftentimes it's the things that we don't do. But let's take a look at the world of Viking, constantly growing with adding ships, 5 currently afloat, a 6th one joining the fleet very, very soon, along with our Mississippi product, along with the 2 new expedition vessels that are joining our fleet in 2022. We're looking at a quite large number of ships that are in our fleet, 95 countries that we're visiting worldwide, over 400 ports all over the world. It is a large, the map keeps growing and growing, and so is the things that we have to learn and educate ourselves, but also for us to talk about. And there is a couple of evergreens of in the last couple of years that kind of crystallized themselves out, and those evergreens on oceans I want to kind of bring to your attention. If you haven't done Viking Oceans yet, these are the most sought after and most popular itineraries amongst Viking travelers. The Viking Homelands, a 15-day journey between Bergen, Norway and Stockholm, Sweden. Really a fantastic exploration of the old Viking ports. Each of those cities eventually founded by the ancient Vikings in the Middle Ages and past that, before that. So they might have started out as a fishing village or a small trading post and then turned into these large metropolitan cities like Gdansk, Aalborg, Copenhagen, and all of these amazing ports. So the Baltic's a very, very strong area for Viking that many, many people book. A lot of the off the beaten path sailings that we do also very, very popular because you can't find them that often. These are not, if you will, not a lot of cruise lines go up there, for example, into the midnight sun between Bergen and London. And why this is so amazing, you see right here, you have this great blend of large metropolitan cities like London, of course, Edinburgh, but also small towns, small islands like the Shetland Islands, right? We're going all the way up to the North Cap and then down the Norwegian coast, one of the most scenic coastlines in the entire world. Beautiful about these, if they start or end in Bergen, Norway, you mostly likely to have a extension in Reykjavik, so you can spend a couple of days in Iceland as well, you know, kind of extend on the value of your flights. And flights with Viking, always discounted, always a great value. You probably know about that already. Iconic Western Mediterranean, one of those shorter cruises. The shortest cruises that we have at Viking are 8-day sailings, Barcelona to Rome, and these are great to kind of combine with the land tour, you know, add or do a river cruise before and then have a land tour and maybe do an ocean cruise after, for those of you that want to spend a little bit more time in the destination. So some amazing good food here in the Northern Mediterranean. You know, in past years, we talked about the slow season in the Mediterranean, not really a thing on Viking. We don't necessarily see that. You know, the demand on Mediterranean cruises is quite substantial. And also the Mediterranean Odyssey, a longer cruise by itself, a fantastic cruise, 13 days in the Mediterranean. These are probably the most popular sailings that I just want to kind of bring to you in a nutshell, between Barcelona and Venice. Absolutely. Can you imagine amazing food on this journey? From Spain to southern France to Italy, Croatian food. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic journey. So over the years, this very, very, very popular. Now, let me introduce the ships a little bit to you and what makes them different. These ships are small, 930 passengers only. We could have easily fit probably 1,200 passengers on there, but we didn't want to. And we wanted to keep the amount of passengers right under 1,000 passengers. Each cabin has a outside veranda stateroom, and none of the views are obstructed. No matter which cabin you look at, each and every cabin has a veranda, and it is an absolutely amazing view. Now, as for the interior design, the decor, if you have traveled on Viking, most likely this will look very, very familiar to you. The design is Scandinavian, it's open, it's airy, it feels very bright, and you know, you have these ceiling to floor windows all over the vessel. These are elegant and intimate ships, and it's very easy to connect with fellow travelers because everybody is English speaking. So the majority of our travelers come from the United States, they come from Canada, a couple of folks from the Great Britain and from Australia. But again, light-filled spaces that are inviting, that enable you to see from anywhere on the ship. You see the landscape, you see the coastline as we sail, the fjords, or any coastline in the world. Now, these ships are also floating museums and art galleries, if you will, right? You learn about Viking heritage, you learn about the Viking history, the ancient Vikings, and what it means to sail the oceans on a longship. You have lectures throughout your journey from our resident historians. And, you know, just kind of give you a couple of design features from our ships. Very, very elegant. The 3-story atrium as you walk onto the ship, very contemporary, but also we want our guests to feel comfortable. Therefore, we have these beautiful living rooms, smaller areas that feel like individual living rooms to converse, to have a glass of wine or a drink of your choice, to have a conversation, to make new friends along the way. It is a known fact that, you know, 5 out of 10 travelers return the next year to Viking and bring friends or family with them for their next journey, because it's so much more fun to travel with someone, right? So beautiful areas that are designed for viewing the area, such as our Explorers Lounge you will find on board. And this is a beautiful 2-story lounge with a full service bar. This is the upper level. So really right on top of the Captain's Bridge, offering the best views in that destination. So you see here, this is what it looks like to sail through the fjords with a front row seat in the Explorers Lounge. Now, the Winter Garden, another beautiful area on board that invites in the afternoons for a tea time. Why not do a high tea? That is a concept become so popular on our ships, a cultural thing that really took off. We offered it on our ocean ships first, but it became so popular that we had to have it on our river ships as well. So high tea by 4:30, you kind of see everybody migrating up to the Winter Garden, a gorgeous venue, light classical music being offered, a chamber trio playing classical music or flamenco music, and you have a wonderful tea time in a gorgeous setting. So I initially mentioned it already. You have to actually be 18 years or older to come on Viking. So this is a cruise line that really has outlined their approach to ocean cruising, to river cruising, for the more mature travelers out there, folks that want to immerse themselves into the culture, into the destination, learn about the people, the art, the culinary world, right? For that very point, you will not have any entertainers or animators here on the sun deck around the pools. There will be no contests. So this is not the college crowd. This is certainly not who we are seeing on Viking. It's guests in their 50s and older, 50s. The average age on board is probably around 60, 65, to be honest. And it is a very relaxing kind of a feel, right? You can read a book poolside without being bothered by any animators or loud music or party bands and those kind of things. That's just not what Viking does. We might go as crazy as having light entertainment up here in the evenings, or a dance trio playing light music up here to entertain, but no animators whatsoever. This is just a different approach to cruising as we do. Even multiple pools on board, you can sightsee from the beautiful infinity pools here in the very back of the ship that are heated. So this is truly an immersion into the destination. Viking prides itself also, not to have any nickel and diming approaches to travelers. So things that you are used to, or you unfortunately might be used to paying extra for, such as access to the spa, right? These things are included. Access to the spa, relaxation pools, those kind of areas, the gym completely included, the saunas, the hot tubs, all of these things are included. Now, if somebody does have a massage lined up, those are for a charge, right? Because somebody is working on you, or personal Pilates class and Pilates coach, absolutely. But just to get into the spa, to use the facilities to unwind and relax and enjoy, that is completely free. So our approach to spa is a holistic approach. It kind of bases on on alternating between hot and cold. So as you come out of the spa, why not use the snow grotto, where you have constantly, permanently 2 feet of snow on the ground. The ancient Vikings, they knew what's good for the body. It's still a concept of the Finnish sauna and the Russian banya, to alternate between hot and cold and rub yourself down with snow and repeat. Very, very healthy, so I hear. So we've tried it in the sales team once. It's quite refreshing, that's for sure. A couple of things I want to mention on the restaurants, because the culinary world is very, very important. Of course, we want to dine well. We want to try the foods of the destination, and that you can do anywhere on the Viking ships. The culinary concept immerses you into the destination as well. And the beautiful layout of the restaurants are in a way that all the tables are lined to see outside the windows. You see those window fronts here in the restaurant where some of the most amazing food on board is served. They actually do open up as we get into the Mediterranean, into the South Pacific, where the weather is permitting that. And you have a fresh breeze through the restaurant here as well. So of course there's multiple outlets, multiple wonderful restaurants on board, such as Manfredi's, because sometimes it has to be freshly made pasta and Italian fare, Italian home cooking. And the great thing, I want to emphasize that each and every restaurant on board is included in your cruise fare. You do not pay extra on those. Manfredi's also features a private dining area. If you are in a group, you have family with you, you are a couple of families, you want to dine together in privacy, you can do that. Just talk to the maitre d' on board and they will make sure you get into either of the private dinings in the chef's table restaurant, or even here at Manfredi's. Again, absolutely free. We do not charge for that. Speaking of the chef's table restaurant, now this is an eclectic sampling menu where you go through 7, 8 courses in a night as a celebration of food, where the menu changes every 3 days. Our chefs having a lot of fun with these menus, and the maitre d' is pairing that with different beverages from around the world. This is really a wonderful celebration of food, and I would highly recommend at least once if you find time in your journey to get into the chef's table restaurant. Great. Also, Mumsens is our Norwegian deli that we have on board. Great little bites served throughout the day till way past midnight. Norwegian fare, open face sandwiches, you know, those little bites. And again, an homage onto the Hagen family and our heritage. They are, of course, Norwegian. So the Norwegian fare is part of what we're offering here. Very, very popular dining venue. We learned one thing on Viking Rivers, that is that aquaviteras and outside dining, al fresco dining, is very, very popular. Therefore, we also have plenty of outside dining space on our ocean ships. Here, the aquaviteras, very, very popular, and very beautiful views that you can see here from deck 8 on our beautiful ocean vessel. Now, just to give you a summary, all of these dining venues on Viking are included. It's really the best dining choices at sea, including the 24-hour room service, pool, grill, world cafe, everything. You do not ever pay a penny for dining on Viking in any of those concepts extra. Now, let me lead you to the staterooms, and I do have a couple of sample images here. These are wonderful retreats, you know, comfortable. They offer sweeping views into the destination. They are your home away from home, right? Contemporary. They feature, each bathroom features heated bathroom floors, features heated mirrors and glass shower cabins. So these are really top of the line vessels, and the woods used all over the ship are lighter grains that also keeps the ships very light and bright and airy and open feel, right? It feels very, very light when you walk into the Viking ships. Now, the wood grain typically kind of reminding me of the alder woods that you see all over Norway. You know, Norwegian furniture always lighter tone. You will never see those heavy oaks, those kind of things, a very lighter furniture. Let me take you through a little walkthrough in our cabins. As I promised you, these are very bright, right? So this is your entry-level stateroom. This is the veranda stateroom with a beautiful king-size bed, which, you know, can be separated into 2 separate beds, but standard comes as you see it here. Even your entry-level cabin is a veranda stateroom, no obstructed views whatsoever, beautiful working desk, beautiful sitting area there. That is your minimum. There is no inside staterooms on Viking. One step up will be the deluxe verandas with added amenities here. You have your coffee maker in here. You have your excuse me, you have your cashmere blanket and binoculars in there, and so many more things. Earlier access to bookings of shore excursions come with that. So it's kind of like you pay a little more, you get a little more. So we're adding amenities. And then here in the penthouse veranda, you have a larger cabin. You can see it's one of our most popular cabins. Bottle of champagne on arrival comes with that, and more features such as shoe shine services. Speaking of shoe shining and services, did you know that we have laundry services on board for the higher end cabins? But even if you book a veranda cabin or deluxe veranda, we have a number of laundrettes absolutely free for you. So you can pack light and save some space in your suitcases to bring gifts back home with you. So you can pack light, do laundry halfway through. It's really very convenient, and it's absolutely free to access these laundrettes. There's dryers, there's washers, there's ironing boards, so absolutely free. Now, I mentioned the beautiful bathrooms. Here's a typical example of a junior suite bathroom with the oversized shower cabin, heated bathroom floors. They are inviting, they're friendly, they're open, and you have a lot of space to put your belongings, to store them away. So top of the line Explorer suites. Now here, the sitting area. Suites on Viking are always 2-room cabins. You have your living room and your dining, your living room and your bedroom, not dining room. Living room and bedroom are separated, and then of course your beautiful deck. These cabins are large enough to entertain. They're really beautiful, well-designed, top of the line. They come in different sizes, from 670 square feet all the way to 1,100 square feet, and everything in between. Amazing, amazing cabins. And we do have that Explorer Suite concept on our rivers. And on Viking Mississippi as well. Speaking of other products and other approaches to travel, Ryan mentioned it earlier that we're also going to talk today about a little bit about our expedition fleet. Now, expedition starting in 2021 and 2022 and beyond, that's where we have these sailings taking place. And these ships are absolutely new builds. They are Viking Octantis and Polaris. There will be two being built for Viking, smaller capacity, so they will be significantly smaller than our ocean vessels. But you will see a lot of similarities, right? You like Mumsens, the dining concepts, you will see in a smaller scale on these ships as well, because these concepts do work on our ocean ships and are very much appreciated by clients and travelers. So they're small enough to gain access to desired landing spots in the polar regions. However, still large enough to be comfortable and to facilitate all the required exploratory missions and the equipment that we need to do that, right? So there is a certain expectation from a traveler that comes on Viking, and these ships will by far exceed them. Let me show you a couple of renderings, because we're building these ships as we speak. You will see a lot of similarities from Viking oceans, Viking rivers if you traveled before, such as, you know, design elements like this beautiful Scandinavian design, open and airy. The way I want you to kind of keep in mind is that this ship is a viewing platform into the destination. A big part is the wildlife observation and the landscapes that we're sailing to. So this ship enables you to see approaching wildlife from anywhere on board, right? So here in the aula, we have a beautiful auditorium to show movies, to have lectures of our resident historians, of our resident scientists that join us, and they actually do research on board. You are able to partake in that research. So we do oceanic research, ornithology research. We collect samples, environmental samples, and we process them on board. And if you are interested, you are absolutely welcome to work side by side with them and partake in the research facility. So this screen that you see here with the movie completely opens up an amazing view over this terrace. You see the seating there in the background. When you open up the screen, it's a beautiful terrace here that has heated lava fire pits, obviously not real fire, you can't have open flame. You have relaxation pools, you have the spa on board. Again, alternating between hot and cold, taking it a step further here where you have a heating grotto. So if you spend out your day on those ribs, on those excursions, on kayaks, and you're, chilled to the core, you can come on in and warm up in that heating grotto, take those heated, take a swim in those heated pools, just, unwind and relax. A great, great spot also on board is Expedition Central. We have access to the expedition team and the expedition leaders to talk about the excursion that has been done the day before. If you have any follow-up questions or you want to make adjustments to upcoming excursions, there's even more that you can do here. We have workshops to improve photography. So there will be experts on board that will teach about photography for you to improve your photography skills. Now, I mentioned already a couple of the expedition gear that we are carrying, and there's a number of those, such as the Zodiacs, very common, right? Those kayaks that can be either by oar or by paddle, but kind of like a bicycle, can be propelled. We have those convertible ribs that can take smaller groups of passengers further away from the ship into more remote, for example, penguin colonies, that can be access to that. But there's two crafts that really raise eyebrows, and those are submarines. So we have two of these 6-seater submarines, and they're absolutely state of the art. Without decompression, they can dive down to 900 feet. I don't think we're gonna max that out, but state of the art. So it's one pilot and 6 passengers, swiveling chairs, so you can really see all around you. And you know what the best thing is about these is that they are absolutely included in the cruise fare. So no extra fees for any of those equipment to be used. Now, speaking of the equipment, this is gets a little technical, but I think it's worth talking about that. Behind the scenes, let me take you into the hangar. And you see The crafts here in the center of the ship, the zodiacs and the ribs lined up. The way you approach these is from one side here where you see the markings on the floor, where you can board these vessels, these crafts in the center. You take a very, very comfortable and safe seat here and probably buckle in. I would assume there's straps and buckles. And when that is done, we gently launch the craft backwards into the sea. So the boarding is taking place inside the vessel. It takes a lot of the moving and shaking and those kind of things, ship side boarding out of the equation makes it very, very safe. And that's really ultimately what we're looking for. For what I know, an industry first. I wouldn't be surprised if others follow suit. But again, innovating and leading by innovation, Viking here doing something really smart. And I'm very excited. So let me show you the cabins, give you a little idea what the cabins look like. Because if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. Considering you're going to Arctic and Antarctica, there is no need for a open veranda cabin, right? Excuse me. So our approach was to design a cabin that starts from the outside of the ship, from the big window of the ship backwards, to enable you to see from anywhere in the cabin anything that is going on outside. So you see this oversized window front that lowers halfway down to the middle of that window. It's right around elbow height and enables you to do photography or binoculars. Sorry. Now, the entire cabin is oriented towards the view. If I may go forward here, you see the cabin is laid out to, enable you to view the outside here. It gets you as close as possible to the view with the sectional that is lined up right in front of the window. Here you see that sectional, and that is part of all of the different categories that we have, such as the Nordic Junior Suite, the Nordic Penthouse. Excuse me. Now, another great invention is also the floor-to-ceiling drying closet. So you might come back from an excursion that you caught a little ocean spray and might get your clothing might have gotten a little damp. This really comes in very smart and very handy. We have in every single cabin a floor-to-ceiling drying closet that is ventilated, that is heated, so your clothes and your expedition gear will be ready and dry for the next excursion that comes right around the corner. Talking about the expedition gear, we provide boots, we provide the walking sticks and pants that go over the clothing, and we do have recommendation for what kind of gear to bring. But you see this red jacket here? That is the Viking expedition jacket, and that is provided for every passenger to keep, right? This is your souvenir to take back home. Very high end. If you're familiar with Helly Hansen brand, that is Helly Hansen, so very, very high end. It's really hard to find proper expedition gear and to expect people to bring it with them, so we'll provide it. It is part of your take-home gift, right? And you can use it for your next Colorado skiing vacation. Now the restaurant, again, adapted from Viking Oceans with the beautiful view. So these panels can open up. You see the gorgeous view out here. It is an open dining concept, regional cuisine, always available classics, and sweeping views into the destination. Manfredi is being offered here as well. Remember that Italian concept from Viking Ocean translates onto expeditions as well. A great world cafe that we have up here, and unique concept, open kitchen concept that will be open 24/7 because we're going into areas where you have the midnight sun. The sun never settles. It's to be expected that your inner clock will probably not work properly, so you might be hungry at certain times that restaurants would be normally closed, but World Cafe will be open right around the clock every single day. It will have a casual approach. It will be interactive sushi, seafood, those kind of things will be offered with wide range of international flavors in this beautiful concept here. Mumsens, the Norwegian deli, will be available as well. So let me show you a couple of technical data. We will be able to welcome 378 guests and we'll have a crew of 260. So this ship is indeed a polar class vessel, meaning it has a strengthened hull that can break up to 3 feet of ice, and the home port is Norway. So Longyearbyen is our home port. The wildlife you will be able to see, obviously, in Antarctica. You see some of the natives, if you will, of this beautiful icy wilderness that can be seen here. And we certainly cannot, how do you say, we cannot guarantee for whales in the Arctic to show up or for polar bears in the Arctic show up, but we can guarantee if they show up that you will see them. So the likelihood on this vessel is high. On the Antarctic Explorer between Buenos Aires and Ushuaia, this amazing 13-day 13-day Explorer that starts in January 22. This is the itinerary. So you start in Buenos Aires, return to Ushuaia. The order of ports will be determined by the captain. Safety protocols and those kind of things, weather plays a role here. We intend to see them all, but the order will be, of course, up to the captain. And you know, you will just imagine yourself kayaking amongst glaciers or taking in all the amazing wildlife from the comfort of your cabin. All of that you will be able to do. And if that's been always one of your bucket list, if you will, it's certainly on mine. Partake maybe in a shore landing in these amazing ice formations as we see it here in Wilhelmina Bay in the Antarctic, where you can do that. Now, I mentioned a couple of scientists that will sail with us that are part of oceanic research. They will actually guide some of the explorations ashore, and if you're interested, will be part of this scientific research as well. Now, as we're talking about Antarctica, there's of course these amazing, I had the great fortune of doing that Antarctica and Arctic in years past as I was still working on board, but this is really absolutely out of this world to see. I had no idea how many different colors ice can have. Really, it's absolutely stunning. So the wildlife in the Arctic, very, very different, from polar bears to walruses to Arctic fox and everything in between, the Svalbard reindeer. So these animals you will be able to see landing in the Arctic, right? And here in the Arctic Adventure, this is again a 13-day round trip from Tromsø to Tromsø, starting in August 22. So each polar region has its own high season, if you will, and we're going to alternate between Arctic and Antarctica. So here, just to kind of give you an idea where we are, the polar ice cap there on the left top side, Svalbard being the home port to our polar vessels here. Longyearbyen is the home port. We will circumnavigate this area and of course get as close as we can to the polar ice caps. Now there is one sailing, a matter of fact, there's 2 sailings a year that are absolutely amazing. I just want to mention that, just maybe as an FYI, from the Arctic to the Antarctica, as we position these ships. So from Tromsø all the way down to Ushuaia, an amazing 44-day cruise on this amazing ship that we just looked at. Take a look at this amazing sailing, 44 days here, from the very top of the world to the very bottom of the world, some ports around the British Isles, the crossing of the Atlantic, and then down the South American coastline. So a really, really fantastic sailing. I would highly suggest, if you're interested in that, book fairly soon. There is very limited amount of sailings available. Before I conclude, one more thing I want to mention, because there will be a little delay between Arctic and Antarctic season. We will have the opportunity to take these vessels into the Great Lakes as well. This might be something that we talk about in a different kind of a setting, maybe separate, but we will be able to take these vessels into the Great Lakes. It will be a domestic kind of a sailing of the Great Lakes between Canada and the United States. And I've seen some renderings, I've seen the ports, Mackinac Island, it's absolutely fantastic, sailing past Niagara to the Welland Canal. And these ships actually fit through the Welland Canal, and they have been purpose-built for the purpose of fitting into the Great Lakes. So, Ryan, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lot of questions.
Good to be back. Thank you. I will say this, you were pretty thorough. I know that there is people listening for sure, but so we don't have a ton of questions out here, but if I could have you go over, Reiner, just a couple of specific details I think that might be important for people to think about. Right, obviously, there's no ships in the water, and I'm not going to ask you to tell me when you think ships are going to be in the water, because that's a loaded question, but
Right.
As someone who may want to put down a deposit for a cruise in 2021 or 2022, what are my assurances if I do want to cancel? What's your policy as it relates to that?
Great question, Ryan. Viking has a policy right now out. It is an offer. It's called the risk-free guarantee. So anybody who decides to put money down on a cruise, you are entitled to step back or step down from your cruise commitment up to 24 hours prior to departure, and to get 100% voucher for a future cruise. Whatever the reason is, we don't need to know, but that is a commitment that we had during the last 3 months. That's called the risk-free guarantee. We have it till the end of September, and I do hope we have it in October too, but for sure I know in September we have it.
Oh, that's great. Any special offers for solo travelers if we have somebody wanting to travel by themselves?
Unfortunately not. The Viking product is always a double occupancy approach. So each cabin is sold as a unit. So you would purchase the cabin as it is. I know there's a quite a market out there for solo travelers. It's just not something that Viking is doing. These ships fill up far in advance, and it is really geared towards couples. The age group is very much outlined, and the product is geared for couples in their 50s, 60s, 70s. That is the targeted audience. Our CEO and owner, he always said, I built this product for myself. I'm 80 and I'm building this for me. and people that are of my age and my approach, that want to learn about culture. And unfortunately, it's not for solo travelers. It's not the best approach for solo travelers.
I'll tell you, there are some great things as Tor has, and I've spent time with Tor together with you. We've sailed together. I've dined with Tor, and he definitely knows what he likes and what he thinks is important, and he sticks with that. He doesn't vacillate and try to say, well, let's be this week. Let's be that next week. Well, let's do this on the river. Let's do something different on the ocean. Definitely the consistency that is delivered on a Viking cruise, be it the 3 different platforms you have now, is going to be a hallmark for all of the people that experience Viking. There's a question that's come in from one of our attendees just wanting to clarify again. You talked about it, but just so people understand the value that they get with the Viking cruise, are all of the exclusions included? What type of alcohol inclusions are there? If you could kind of speak to those types of things that are typically charged on most other vessels and other cruise lines, what do you charge for and what do you not?
See, that's a great question. And if I haven't gotten over this in detail, I appreciate that question very much. Now, for example, your daily shore excursion in every port is always included. So there will be a plethora of optional tours, special interest tours in the afternoons, sometimes even full day excursion, but they will be special interest. So if you're really interested in a cultural or historic segment that is very specific, that is an optional excursion that our included tours give you a great and broad overview of the destination. And then if you want to dive in further, you can explore on your own or take some of our optional tours. So these are included. Wi-Fi is always included on Viking. So we all wanted to stay connected these days. Beer, wine with lunch and dinner is included. Sodas are included. bottled water on shore excursion, that is often a gripe that I personally have when traveling for business on cruise lines. Oftentimes I come down with a $250 tab on just water, right? Just bottled water. And that is included with Viking in the cabins on shore excursions, as much as you like, as much as you need. Gosh, where else can the dining on board everywhere is included. So it's really hard to spend a lot of money on Viking. You know, once you're there, once you arrive on the ship, the spending is pretty much done. You know what to expect. You know what to expect. There's no hidden fees, no hidden surprises. We even include government fees, taxes, those kind of things are paid up front. It is very predictable, and predictable is the word that I was looking for earlier. You know, with not experimenting and branching out left and right, it makes us predictable, right? You know what you can look forward to going on Viking. It makes us predictable.
Yeah, no surprises.
Predictability is a good thing.
that in this case, it definitely is. I will say, as I think through my experiences on Viking, I think you're right. You really don't have a need when it comes to extra expenses. It's really for the want in you. So you mentioned the spa facilities are accessible and open and there's no surcharge. But if you want a treatment when you're in there, that would come with a charge.
Absolutely.
The beer and wine with your lunch and dinner, completely complimentary, part of your cruise fare. But if you wanted a nightcap, if you want a cocktail with some friends after dinner's over and you head to the bar, that would be at an additional charge, but that's more of what you would want, maybe not what you need. And then you mentioned complimentary shore excursion every day. So you have that free, for lack of a better phrase, free excursion. But if you wanted something a little more special, there are optional shore excursions that you can pay for. And I'm leading to this point, is why I'm talking about these things, is if you book with Bon Voyage, you have the opportunity to get some shipboard credit. So right now on select sailings on the ocean, if you book with Bon Voyage for the rest of the month, you have the opportunity to collect $500 of shipboard credit per stateroom. And it could go to one of those optional shore excursions. It could go to one of those massage treatments in the spa. It could be your drink package that you could purchase with that shipboard credit. So there's lots of opportunity, but I think it's the perfect blend, Reiner, where you talked about it, where you want for nothing, but if you have a little bit of an extra that you'd love to enhance your experience, this shipboard credit can be applied to some of those added extras. So I love what you've talked about today as it relates. Not to beat the dead horse here, but I think people should probably be looking at their itineraries. What is filling up fastest? Is everything filling up for 2021, or is Europe starting to fill up faster than others? What are some of the destinations that are filling up?
You see availability in some of the sailings that I mentioned in the Mediterranean. Those are still available. It wouldn't make sense to talk about something that is already sold out. So Homelands is still available throughout the year because we have numerous sailings on there. Some sail dates more sold out than others. There's always a season in Europe to go, right? Everybody wants to go in the summer. So that fills up, and by default, people kind of looking towards the end of 2021. That, you know, I want to put that in perspective to be on the safe side. But you're absolutely right. I wouldn't wait much longer to look for 2021. If you are planning ahead, 2022 is a viable option to book. There is still wide availability on that.
Excellent. And you didn't really touch on this, and I thought I would just add it as the agency level. You know, we're talking about the full trip experience. Viking does have a fantastic air department that I would like to highlight as well. So you gotta get there. So most of these places that you're sailing out of, if not all in 2021, would require a flight. We would encourage you to talk to your Bon Voyage travel advisor about the air options that Viking has. They're tremendous value. They obviously book a ton of air for North American travelers, so they have great relationships that they can pass on savings and great itineraries to the travelers through Bon Voyage. So I would encourage our people that are on this to ask your travel advisor, not just about the economy fares. They have some great options for business class fares. And when you're going across the Atlantic Ocean, there's nothing like traveling in business class. So you guys are are at the top of your game when it comes to the air department.
Thank you.
One more touching base, I'll divert to the expedition product that I'd like to bring up, and you can talk to it again. But Viking is known, like you said, for its predictability, its consistency of fleet. We see it on the river vessels from one ship to the next. It's a very similar delivery of product. The ocean, you can almost close your eyes, spin around 10 times, and be moved from ship to ship, and you wouldn't know that you're not on the ship that you started on because of that consistency. When I think of the expedition product, one thing that jumps out to me is innovative. You guys have come up with some great solutions in the expedition space that a lot of your competitors have not. You talked about the area that you will be boarding and disembarking, the ribs and the other vessels. Can you kind of just touch base on that again? That is just innovative to me. And to me, it looks like a Disneyland ride. It's so easy. It's so accessible for the people of all ages and all mobility constraints potentially to get on and off of the vessels. That's an innovative feature. If you just touch base one last time on that again.
It is indeed very smart, and that's what I hear from the industry as well. Now, I have never worked on an expedition vessel or worked with the product before, so learning the product that we're going to have, I learned in my research that it is indeed a very, very unique approach and very safe. So if you can board the Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland, that is really the same approach. It is as safe, it is as easy and safe to board these vessels. And then on the way back in, same thing, the vessel approaches the ship from the back and will be pulled into the hangar, secured, and then on the other side, you disembark just as easy and safe as you embarked the vessel. It's really revolutionary and so smart, I can't agree more.
I love the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, but I can tell you the views on an expedition cruise with Viking are going to blow you out of the water versus the Pirates of the Caribbean. But Reiner, I wanted to thank you for joining us. Thanks to all of our attendees for being on today. I hope you were inspired to take a Viking Ocean or expedition trip. And if you're interested in Viking River, go back to that webinar that we had because they're coming to the Mississippi in 2022. So go learn all about the innovative ideas that they're bringing to North America with their river cruises. And last but not least, book your cruise with Bon Voyage Travel. You've got 2 weeks from today. Make sure you get that booking in September to take advantage of that shipboard credit offer that we have, $500. That's real money, folks, that can go towards your expenses on your Viking cruise. Thanks, Reiner, for joining us. I hope all is well with your 2 boys at home, and you take care and be safe.